Phones and handheld consoles are processing heavier data loads than ever before, pushing their internal hardware to the absolute breaking point. But you typically only have one physical port to work with. If you need expanded storage, external power, and an SD card reader simultaneously, you run out of physical real estate instantly. And even if you manage to plug everything in, sustained heavy workloads like recording 4K ProRes video or playing in AAA game generate massive heat. Your device has to intentionally slow itself down, throttling your performance just to keep from melting. Getting desktop-class performance out of a mobile setup usually requires carrying a bag full of bulky external hardware, which defeats the entire purpose of using a mobile device in the first place. The Sharge Disk Pro 2 attempts to solve this. It is a hyper-compact, MagSafe-compatible accessory that packs a multi-port hub, a high-performance SSD enclosure, and an active cooling fan into a single unit. This quadrant chart mots the accessory landscape. Standard $30 dongles sit securely in the bottom left with low cost and low workflow impact. The Disk Pro 2 jumps to the top right, but cramming 3 tools into a pocketable chassis requires distinct compromises: acoustic stealth, durability, and budget. We are going to map these exact compromises against daily workflows to determine if you are the target audience for this hardware or if you should avoid it entirely. The enclosure itself snaps right onto the back of your phone, and it features a tool-free physical access mechanism so you can pop the drive bay open instantly. Inside, it supports multiple M.2 NVMe SSD physical sizes, meaning you can drop in standard 2280, 2242, or the highly compact 223 drives. It can handle a maximum capacity of up to 8 terabytes, pushing data transfer speeds up to 10 gigabits per second over a USB 3.2 Gen 2 connection. This open ecosystem is a major departure from the first-generation Disk Pro, which permanently locked you into factory-set capacities of 1, 2, or 4 terabytes. This matrix compares the two generations, highlighting the shift from a fixed drive to a swappable NVMe setup. But this flexibility has a price. You pay a premium for the enclosure, and you must still assume the secondary cost of a third-party drive. By separating the enclosure from the storage, you can swap in larger, cheaper drives as your library grows. This design prioritizes the ability to upgrade over time, even if the initial buy-in is higher. When you write massive video files directly to an external drive, heat builds up fast. The built-in active ice storm cooler exists to draw that heat away so your device does not drop frames. This chart demonstrates the cooler's thermal efficiency. Compared to passive heat buildup, active cooling creates up to a 30 degrees Celsius drop over a sustained period. That steep drop is generated by a 12,000 RPM fan kicking into turbo mode. Spinning a small cooling fan at that extreme speed creates intense mechanical vibration and a high-pitched sonic disturbance. It produces a whine measuring roughly 60 decibels. If you are recording video using the internal microphones on your smartphone, that mechanical noise will bleed directly into your audio track. Eliminating thermal throttling entirely means you completely sacrifice acoustic stealth. If you plan to shoot video with this running, you will have to use separate, external microphones. Beyond storage and cooling, the enclosure packs a 6-in-1 physical port array, 2 USB-C ports, an SD and microSD slot, a full HDMI 2.1 port, and a built-in USB-C lanyard. Because of the smart power delivery routing, you can push a 4K 120Hz signal out through that HDMI 2.1 port to an external monitor using only the internal battery of your phone or console. Running an external display without a wall outlet comes with a trade-off. It will severely accelerate the battery drain on your host device. For long sessions, you have to plug wall power into the secondary USB-C port for pass-through power delivery, or your device will die quickly. Externally, the Disk Pro 2 leans into Sharge's signature Cyberpunk aesthetic, leaving the industrial-grade internals visible through a transparent plastic top plate. But that clear shell has a distinct durability trade-off. It is highly prone to deep microabrasions and scratches if you toss it directly into a bag next to your keys or metal everyday carry tools. It puts a desktop-tier port selection in your pocket, but it demands careful physical storage and strict power management if you plan to rely on it daily. To figure out if those trade-offs make sense for you, we can divide your daily hardware into 3 distinct categories. This decision tree starts with a single question: what is your primary device? Let's follow the first branch. If your main tool is an iPhone or a camera, We filter by whether you shoot ProRes or log video on a daily basis. If you do, this is an immediate yes. The Disk Pro 2 simultaneously cures your physical storage limits while preventing the thermal throttling that corrupts high bitrate video. On the second branch, we look at handheld console users. Do you take your device on the road and want to play it docked to an external display? If you travel with a Steam Deck or similar console, the purchase is justified. You get a fully functional, pocketable 4K dock without having to stuff extra power bricks into your bag. Finally, if you follow the third branch for standard laptop or desktop users, you immediately hit an avoid terminal. If you just need occasional file storage or simple USB expansion for a computer sitting on a desk, you do not need this accessory. A standard passive SSD enclosure or a traditional $30 hub will do the exact same job for much less money, and they will do it in complete silence. Specialized tools like this are built for very narrow workflows. For those who actually hit these hardware limits daily, the performance gains simply outweigh the noise in the cost. Sharge built this for a small circle of power users, currently operating at the absolute edge of their mobile hardware's limits.